do it live.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Cinematic Lounge, the 5, with my friend Chris Coker. Hey, Chris, what's happening?
Hey, Ralph. How's it going, man?
It's going fine.
Good. Glad to hear it.
How's your week?
It's been busy.
Okay.
It's been busy, but it's good, I'm looking forward to the weekend. We're recording here on a Friday night.
Yeah, things are a little screwy out there in the world.
Yeah.
So this is
The
our
O's
little,
won their opening
O's.
day, 12-2, so that was
a
a
little
good day.
ray of sunshine for us to sit
Exactly.
around the lounge, talk about movies with everything else going on in the world. It's crazy.
Exactly.
So yeah, tonight we're going to talk about Tom Cruise. We're calling it Cruise Control.
Exactly. Yes, a little different.
A little different, which is why I'm wearing these goofy glasses.
You look good, man.
Yeah, I mean, he wears these, I think, in Top Gun. I'll probably switch to my other ones because I'm having a little trouble seeing. So anyway, as we know in the 5 is we talk about whatever the subject is. Tonight it's Tom Cruise, and we just pick 5 movies we want to talk about. These are not the best, the worst, whatever. It's not our favorites. It's just some that we pick to discuss.
Exactly.
Right?
And we changed it up a little bit. Up until this point, we had basically done genres, and now we've decided to take an actor.
Right.
And one of the things that Ralph and I have talked about before is the idea that Cruise is kind of the last real movie star.
He really is.
That there are guys that are famous
Yeah.
that people will put money into if they want to do a movie, but Cruise still has kind of that movie star shine.
He
about
does.
him.
He's a true movie star.
Yeah.
And the Mission Impossible series with all the stunts, that's one thing. But the other thing, I saw Maverick, and he does that preamble at the beginning,
Oh, that was nice.
right, where he thanks you for coming
Coming
to the movie
movies,
theater. And
yeah.
I just feel like he is really doing this for us. He does. He's a hardworking actor.
I mean, I think he truly
Movie star.
loves making movies.
Yeah, I believe
like,
that too.
and
the
like,
process.
Yeah, I actually saw Matt Damon talking about him one time in an interview, and Damon was recounting the story, and he said that Cruise was saying to him that he wanted to put together this stunt, this kind of crazy stunt, and the movie safety guy said, no, we can't do that. And then Cruise was like, so I got a new safety guy. So basically, I mean, he's at that point where, I mean, he produces everything himself, or at least is a part of it.
He's got a production company.
Yeah, and so it's like, he never directs anything or anything, but like he's obviously a major creative part of the film.
He is, and he's like I said, he's a hardworking actor, and he does, like, even in a movie like Tropic Thunder, where he's buried under all that makeup.
Oh yeah,
playing that agent or whatever he was of a
His
movie,
head
a
of
movie head of a
studio head.
and the dance, and he would only do it if he could do that dance.
Yeah.
And Ben Stiller was like, "Fine, you come in the movie, do the dance,
do whatever you want."
So I mean, he and when he pops up in movies all over the place, he's the hardest working. Now he's done a couple of lately, the Mummy thing, and he tried to get that off the ground.
Yeah.
That didn't quite work. Obviously,
I mean, the guy's had movies that weren't going to be successful. Like he had that one American Made where he's like a drug pilot.
I didn't mind it. That was pretty good.
I actually
liked
didn't
his-
see it yet.
Oh,
but like
okay.
I heard it was good, but I mean, you make a movie like that, it's not going to make $500 million.
Right.
It just isn't. It's a smaller picture. But we're going to talk about some of his better.
We are, and he's tried some. We're not going to. Magnolia's not one of the 5.
Yeah.
He's tried some stuff where he's acting, and sometimes it misses, sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it's great.
This is our 5. So we're
Yeah.
going to just, as I do, I just drop the list. We have 5 of the posters up. I didn't tell Chris the order.
All right.
I barely know the order, and
Let's get to it.
I think I went chronological, but we'll see. So here's the first one.
All right. Yes.
Risky Business.
Yeah, Risky Business. This is one of my all-time
I think
favorite
this is when
movies.
I was introduced to Tom Cruise.
Yeah, well, this
I think.
Yeah.
This
I mean,
was
this
early.
was his first major hit.
Yeah.
I mean, he had been in Taps.
Okay, so the
and
Taps was before this. This
yeah,
came out in
he-
'83,
yeah.
I think.
He had been in a really kind of cheap 50s sex comedy called Losing It.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And he'd been in a couple of films along the way, but this was the one where he was the star, he was the thing. And I it's funny, I love this film, and
Yeah,
I
it's a
love
good
his
film.
performance in it. The guy who wrote and directed it, Paul Brickman, he really was trying to say something in. Even though most people, myself included, thought it was going to be like an 80s sex comedy.
Oh, no. Yeah,
and it
it
is
got
not.
deep. No.
It's very artistic, and it's making a lot of points about capitalism, about people and things like that. There's so much more going on in this film. And his performance, one of the things I really like about his performance, I feel like this is before he became Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And so his performance is very like self-conscious. He doesn't know what's going on. And like, he is, I don't know. He gives a great performance. He's with Rebecca De Mornay, which apparently they actually dated or got together on set and then dated for a while.
Well, they had sex on that subway train.
For real?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, she was like,
She was hot. Back in, I mean, I think the director talks about how unattainable she actually was, and and she had to do some work with Tom Cruise before they shot and stuff, some of the rehearsals, and they look great on screen together for sure.
Yeah, and his performance, it's very. It is self-conscious the way you would be as a 17-year-old. You know what I mean? And
I mean, what do you mean by self-conscious? What does that mean as an actor? What are you saying? I don't understand.
What I'm saying is it's a great performance.
Right.
And I think what he is I think that he, in it as an actor, was unsure the way that Joel Goodman is unsure of himself.
Okay.
Right? Because I actually watched the commentary which was kind of cool because it was for the 25th anniversary. And it was... I think it was John Avnet, the guy who produced it, the writer, director, and Cruise. Cruise came back. They did the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
They had a great time talking. But I think it was one of those things where like he had basically done like Taps, he had done The Outsiders, and like some other minor stuff. And I think that he even talked about it. He seemed to have a lot of reservations about his skill as an actor, and was he up for this?
Well, there's also Bronson Pinchot's in this film.
Yeah.
And the kid from
Curtis
Moonlighting, Curtis Armstrong, Booger,
yeah,
right? Booger from
Revenge of the Nerds. Mm-hmm.
And I think they kind of were talking about. I've heard some things where they were like, "This Cruise kid is he's not an actor like we are."
Right.
And Bronson Pinchot is very method and very
Sure.
serious about it. He's still to this day he's still very serious. And I think Cruise was probably up against a little bit of that. So they're like, "This kid comes in as a movie star. Who's this kid?"
He's the pretty boy.
Then
they
do that scene, the dance scene to
Old Time Rock and Roll.
Old Time Rock and Roll. Who's that?
Bob Seger.
Bob Seger.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Everybody remembers that scene. It's been parodied and redone so many times, but it's like the movie is so much more than that.
Of course.
It's so good.
Of course.
It's like I actually rewatched it.
The egg. The whole thing's about the egg.
Guido the Killer Pimp.
Guido the Killer Pimp and Joe Pantoliano, Joey Pants. I mean, it's a very, very serious film because they set him up.
Yeah.
And they steal everything from him, and he has to buy it all back before his parents come home. At the same time, he's trying to get into Princeton, I think.
Stanford.
Right? Stanford. I don't know. Okay.
Because Stanford's the
all
one.
I remember is the scene at the end with the glasses, and he says, "Sometimes you just got to say, what the fuck."
Yeah, and it is funny too. But what's also interesting about this movie is there was actually a very different ending originally shot.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, what it was there was a much more downbeat ending. And if you watch any of the DVDs, have it. In fact, Criterion just released this, and their version actually has the original ending as part of the film.
What's the original ending?
The original ending. So the ending of the theatrical version is the two of them. They have dinner together at the top of the Sears Tower,
right.
And then they walk into like a little. They're walking in a like a little park, and they're kind of joking and talking. It's much lighter. It's much more upbeat. The actual ending of the original ending, the one that Brickman wanted, was they're doing their talking, but instead of cutting and going to that, he says to Rebecca De Mornay, to Lana, come sit on my lap, basically. And it's much darker. It's much more downbeat. There's no little witty repartee. And John Peters, the guy who was producing it, he just flat out, he was like, look, we tested both of them. My ending, the happier ending, tested much better.
Yeah.
And this movie did, like you look at the thing, and when I say this was the one that really kind of catapulted him up from just good looking supporting guy, the movie cost like $8 million to make or something, and it made like 65 in the theater.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge hit.
It was a big hit.
Yeah.
But
it's Porsche going in the water and all these things. I didn't rewatch all these films we're about to talk about. So there's just things, it flashes that I have.
This is one of the ones I did rewatch, but mostly because and this is funny. When I saw this when I was a teenager, I didn't see it in the theater, but when I saw it when I was a teenager, it didn't knock me out. But when I came to it later, I was like, wow, there's so much more going on in this film than I originally thought.
I was a senior in college when this came out.
Yeah.
And some people said I looked like him in Risky Business. I mean, I'm not going to say that was a long time ago. I'm just saying.
But
yeah. So this thing, it became again. It catapulted him. Now from this moment on, it's Tom Cruise.
Yeah. But
and Tom Cruise all the time now.
Yeah, he basically becomes
good or bad.
Yeah, he basically, there's a few other movies that he makes, but essentially he's Tom Cruise in every movie.
He is, and that's what I didn't like
he-
about him. See, I've had this.
Yeah.
I've flipped on Tom Cruise. I didn't like Tom Cruise through all this, the 80s, and I just didn't like him. And then eventually, like, I think Mission Impossible, and he started, I can't remember where I changed. I go, this guy, I don't care. He's a movie star. He's working his ass off for me to watch, and I appreciate. And movies like The Firm and some of his other, some of smaller films that he's always. He's earnest. He's always good in them. I think he's always good in them. Then he tries Vampire, the Vampire
Interview with the Vampire.
And
that's like the closest he's ever come to playing a villain, in my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other movies where he's been a little bit morally flexible, but like he's usually pretty much the good guy.
Yeah, because the big smile and the whole thing, the whole Tom Cruise.
And I will say this: nobody runs better than Tom Cruise.
Nobody
like when he sprints, like he looks great.
I don't know how that thing.
He
I don't
does.
know how
It's
he
like
does
this.
it. I mean, and that's
like a weird kind
It's
of.
that and riding motorcycles in every movie. He has to
yeah.
run in every movie. I mean, there's Cruise-isms that happen
Yeah.
everywhere, and that's okay because the quality's there.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit because I know Mission Impossible's on this. We'll talk a little bit about what he's done for that franchise. But yeah, okay. So Risky Business.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, totally worth it.
He was kind of a dick in Taps.
Oh yeah, he went crazy.
Right,
in
he went
Taps.
crazy.
Yeah, he was the one that like started shooting.
Yeah. Was he in The Outsiders as well? I don't
He was.
remember.
He was one. But the funny thing about The Outsiders is, there's two versions of that movie, right? There's the theatrical version, and then there's the complete novel, as it's known. One is literally a half an hour longer, and Cruise is not very much in the theatrical version. He's kind of basically a very side background character, even though he's on the cover with all the guys and stuff. But in the other movie, he's got a whole bunch more going on in the first half an hour that they basically cut out of the film.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we go from Risky Business to what? What do you think?
Rain Man. Oh, now you see, I'm going to throw this out. Okay. This has always been my thing about Rain Man. I understand that Dustin Hoffman won the Academy Award for this movie. Cruise is the greatest performance in this film.
Yeah, this is the one. This and Magnolia, but this one more. They said he got robbed for the Oscar.
Well, because
because Hoffman went full full.
He went full autistic.
Okay, that's good. Good way to put it. When they Tropic Thunder, he went full. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he did. And but this is a good Cruise film. I mean,
It's
he's
a
good.
great movie,
Yeah.
and
And he had a tough. The thing about guys playing autistic guys or guys like this or I Am Sam, it's like, and I've argued with my brother about this because they rave about the acting, but my feeling is everybody has to react to what Dustin Hoffman's doing because he doesn't have to pay attention.
Yeah.
He's autistic, so he, socially,
whatever he
right,
wants.
no social cues. Tom Cruise has to carry all the acting in this film and the brother relationship. And it's like, this is the one they think that he should have got the Oscar.
And the other thing is that he, not only that, he has to be, he's who we associate with.
Right.
We don't associate with Dustin Hoffman because we have no idea what that is like. Right. We can understand, some of us more than others. I have a great relationship with my dad, but he did not in this character. His character did not in this film. So like he's really having like but you can understand that, people having, difficult relationships with their father and then like not getting what they believe that they deserve and like him and this whole thing. And then there's the additional part where like he truly does feel hurt that these guys just, basically made the choice for him that he's never going to know his brother. Even though his brother had a lot of challenges and things like that, they basically were just like, you know what, Tom, or
I don't know. You want
Babbitt.
me to find out?
I forget what his character's name is in here. I know the last name is
Babbitt. To be fair, I've only seen this movie once.
You've only seen Rain Man once,
Yeah.
right? It's Barry
Again,
Levinson's.
I've gone through a really tough Tom Cruise.
Right, I understand.
Like I've been very up and down with him.
This is Baltimore's Barry Levinson.
Charlie Babbitt.
Charlie Babbitt, right. Well, Barry Levinson, Baltimore's favorite son.
This is directed. This he directed?
Yeah.
Oh.
This is like his, I think some of his Baltimore, I like Diner more, but like
Diners.
this is probably his finest overall movie as far as like what people consider, but it's great. It's a great movie. And his role in it is terrific. I mean, he's playing Tom Cruise in the sense that he is kind of a talented outsider maverick type guy who does what he wants and, kind of plays by his own rules. in his whole, and he's got that weird business where he's importing like sports cars or something like that. Like he's importing sports cars, and he's obviously hustling and trying to make this crazy thing happen. And he's not above a little lying to get things to grease the wheels. And,
Right. I mean, he's slick Tom Cruise.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's who he is in a lot of his films. But in this film, I think he imbues this character with more emotion and stuff like that. And I think it's great. And I think you actually can, even though, if you were to meet Charlie Babbitt in real life, you probably think, man, this guy's a dick, right? You feel for him. You feel for the situation that he's in and everything like that. So
I barely remember the film.
God,
I know. I do remember that he was
You
good.
don't have it on Laserdisc somewhere?
I do not have Rain Man. I don't even have it. I don't have it because, again, like I said, I've gone through a very tricky relationship with Tom Cruise, so I didn't see a lot of this stuff. This came out in '88.
Yeah,
I think it came out in 1988. So a couple of these movies might be, as I started to appreciate him more, because I'm looking at all The Last Samurai. I mean, he's done so many films.
He's done a lot of great movies.
It's hard to.
Even if you're like, not even including the Scientology thing, which is a whole other morass we won't get into. But even with all of that stuff, it's like you still kind of got to like the guy. It's hard. It's hard to just be like, I do not like Tom Cruise.
Here's the thing. It's not that it's not about it's about appreciation. I appreciate what he does and how hard he works.
Oh, yeah.
And the stunts that he does and the risks he takes now in these Mission Impossible stuff. No sane person would do that. So he's insane. Like if you watch those movies, he's insane.
He is.
I mean, I think he's insane he's like insane as a human being, because nobody would ever do that kind of shit. Well, and he keeps doing it.
I mean,
now the plastic surgery is getting a little weird and things are getting a little funky. I think
he looks pretty good.
He does. He's my age.
I know.
mean, he's 63. I wish I looked like he does. I mean, it's insane. I mean, that's,
he but he can bathe in goat blood if he needs.
Something's going on.
Something.
It might be Scientology. I don't know.
Maybe it is. See, that's it.
So
he doesn't have any. No, he's got kids. Wait a minute. What do I say? He's got a bunch of kids.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of kids.
He's got some adopted kids. He's got some natural kids.
Some adult kids. I mean, they're all adults now. I mean,
well, they are now. Yeah, he's in his 60s.
He was married to
Nicole Kidman.
Mimi Rogers. Remember her?
Right.
That was earlier.
Rogers, yeah.
I like it. She's great. And where can I put this? Get another one here. This is what the lounge is all about.
I know. You got to relax.
Everything going on in the world. This is fun.
I know.
Yeah, he's got a very, very, very fascinating life.
Yeah.
And it gets in the way of of me appreciating his films, because the whole couch thing with Oprah, all that stuff that goes on around him, and his defense of the Matt Lauer interview with the Scientology thing. There's a lot of stuff that really it's like, come on, man, just do the movies. And now that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's just doing the movies, and it's paying off.
Yeah. You haven't heard him. Everybody knows, but you never hear him talk about it anymore.
I don't hear it anymore.
Yeah.
So who knows?
And I think maybe you're right. I mean, maybe he really looked at it and said, hey, this is hurting my overall
I don't know
what
he. I mean, because he has a company producing films too.
Yeah.
If you look, Cruz Wagner, I think it is.
Something like that.
Yeah, they produce some good films too.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about Rain Man?
It's
I got nothing.
It's so good. Man.
I remember the matchsticks and the counting matchsticks and the Hangover spoof this.
Yes, the Hangover spoof this with him counting
going to the
cards,
casino,
and he counts cards with him because he's so good.
Ben Stiller does a great. I don't know if you've ever seen those parodies where Ben Stiller
plays Tom Cruise.
Talking about his stuff.
Well, that's
the Oscars, the whole Oscar thing where he really nails.
But that's how apparently Tom Cruise ended up in Tropic Thunder.
Probably
because Stiller was like, I kind of knew him for when they did these whole things for the MTV Movie Awards where Stiller was his
that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that.
Yeah. Where like Stiller was a stunt man and like he's doing all the
all the looks.
He's like imitating Tom Cruise and all that.
He nails it. I know.
It's great. It's great. It's good to see this, and I'm going to throw this out here. You know what? He does seem to have a good sense of humor about himself.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
He doesn't seem to take himself too seriously.
I mean, but that could also be he's super controlling and he only does what is going to make him look good. I don't know. I mean, there's a side of him that he's like an alien. I mean, he's like an alien because is he an actual human being? It's so weird.
I know.
But again, I'm going to say it for the umpteenth time. I super love watching his films now.
Oh, yeah.
The Mummy sucked. But that
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that. But lately the Mission Impossible stands somewhere else. But anyway, okay, I really appreciate him. All right, so
All right,
what's next? There we go.
Speaking of Mission
Impossible.
Yeah.
And we're showing the poster from the first one, but they're up to 8 now. I think he's on the 8th. But
I'll be honest with you. Like the last 4 or 5 of them, they just kind of blend together in some ways.
I only had trouble with the last one that's now going to be the first part of this one that's coming out.
Right.
I mean, but this is going to end it. I think this is going to be his farewell.
It's called the Final Reckoning.
Yeah, but the way the trailer is showing it seems like because they bring the knife in the trailer. You see the knife from the knife
from the first one when it falls into the thing.
Yeah. So I think this might be it. But this is to me is like he saved this.
Sure.
I mean, the franchise was a TV show, obviously, but he kept it going, and it's all because of him. It's him.
Yeah,
it's his star power.
And I mean, and it's funny too because the first one it's Brian De Palma directs the first one.
Yeah.
John Woo does the second one. And if you're like me and you like John Woo, you like the second one.
Nobody likes the second one. I love the second one because I love John Woo.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, the whole idea was a new director would give it a new feel. Each one would be different. Like
J.J. Abrams did the third one. But I think what's his name? Is it Christopher McQuarrie?
Christopher McQuarrie started.
He's basically done most of the
last few, and he's did some John Reacher. He did the Reacher.
He did the Reacher movies with him.
There's a couple other.
Which you know what? I know Reacher's supposed to be this giant guy, and that the TV show is much more accurate, but I liked him in the Reacher movies. I liked him in those too.
Yeah, well, because he's a hard-working actor.
Yeah, I know.
He tries really hard, and he's great.
Yeah. But I mean, this movie is great, and it's funny too. Actually, if you go back and you rewatch the first one, and you see how ridiculously young he looks in that movie, even compared to now, you're just like, suddenly I had a sense of my own mortality.
Well, because it's been years. This one, okay.
What is it? 99.
That's I'll tell you.
I don't even think it was. I think it might have been like 95.
I don't remember.
It was it was like mid 90s, I think.
Yeah, but this is like you said, Brian De Palma. The Reckoning, 1996.
All right.
Yeah. So, but this one started the franchise.
Yeah.
This is probably, if I had to, I mean, this is still my favorite of all of them because it was the first one.
Yeah.
It's the one that took the TV show. Now everybody's pissed off about what they did to Jim. What's his name? John Voight.
John Voight played
Jim.
He was the only other character from the TV show. It was Ethan Hunt and Jim.
Yeah, I forget Jim's last name.
Yeah, me too.
That's terrible. Wait a minute, I get it right here. What am I doing? Get it right here. John Voight.
Phelps.
Jim Phelps. That's right. And they really turned Phelps into the bad guy.
Yeah, they turned him into the bad guy.
Which is a shocker for people. But I just think that the intricate, it's Brian De Palma too. The shooting he did, the scene obviously in the CIA where he's on the wire and the sweat's dripping and all that is just, classic stuff. And again, Tom Cruise did all that. I mean, he did all that. He did all that. He hung on that wire for hours, and he was a big part. Yeah. And even through the Woo one, which everybody hated for some reason. I
don't know why people hate that.
Because
the one thing I will say about the second one is that they totally overdid the mask thing.
Oh yeah.
Like it happened like it felt like 6 times people were pulling it off, and you're just like, that was a little much. But I loved all the motorcycle stuff and
the flying in the air and they grab each other, they jump off the cycles and the gunplay.
Yeah. But I will say probably my favorite scene in that whole movie as far as like editing and just like the look of it is the scene where I think it's Tandy Newton is going up the stairs to steal the thing and it's cross-cut with the flamenco dancers. Yeah. I don't know why. I love that scene. It's so cool. Yeah. And but yeah, that was like, when John Woo had his 8 years here in America. Which was too bad. I never felt he had a really great
Broken Arrow. He had a rough time here in America.
The one I love is, we probably won't do a 5 on Van Damme, but Hard Target.
Hard Target's great,
dude.
We should do a 5 on John Woo.
Oh,
yeah, okay. We'll do a John Woo 5.
We could do a director's one too. Yeah, that's a good idea.
What do you mean? What do you mean a director's one? He is the director.
No. I'm saying this is a star. We've done genres. Now this is a star. We could do directors.
Oh, you mean a director's 5?
Yeah, director's 5. That's what I meant.
John Woo will be the first.
Maybe.
Maybe. Oh, that's right. This is your show.
It's not my show.
It is your show. It's your idea.
To help me out here.
I help
Run it dry on ideas.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But this Mission Impossible is the one that
I really
the
like
OG.
this one. Yeah,
I do too. I love this one.
it is funny though when you go back and you watch it, also with all the the technology is it's supposed to be so futuristic, and you're like,
it's unbelievable.
I mean, you could say that about any movie really that's 30 years old, but still.
But because this is 96 and they're still making Mission Impossible, and it's to me the new ones are a little too dedicated to his stunts and all that, like in the last one with the train, and they're in the train and fighting. This one at least held some, I don't want to say realism because it's not, but it still felt more grounded than the newer ones. Yeah. But still, he's in the middle of it, and he's earnestly doing these films for us. Oh, yeah. And he's still pulling it off. Oh, yeah. And
at his age, too.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. What else you want to say about Mission Impossible?
I don't know. It's great. I will say this. One of the best things.
We're like Chris Farley. Remember when you did the jump off the train?
I know.
That was great.
Remember when he said, "Who are you talking to me? You talking to me?" He's talking to Scorsese. Anyway, but no, I will say this. One of the best parts of this film, and they kind of redid it. They overdid it with the franchise, I think, in certain parts. But in the opening parts of the movie, like Emilio Estevez and these people show up. And then they're all dead.
Oh, dead. He kills them off.
He kills them off in the opening scene, like in the, how Bond movies used a lot of, especially the Roger Moore ones, opened up with like a mini adventure at the beginning. Yeah. It's that same kind of thing, but they all get whacked. Like all these people you recognize and know, mostly character actors or whatever, but they just all get whacked out. Yeah. I mean, they did the same thing with Kerry Russell in MI3. Right. She gets killed in like the first 6 minutes.
Yes, that's right. So the eye thing pops in her. Yeah,
pops her eyeball.
That's right. And Philip Seymour Hoffman played the
big baddie in that one, yeah.
But I love that they brought Kittredge back from the first. Kittredge is the one where he's in that lobster
the
restaurant,
big tank,
and he sticks the gum on the thing.
That's such a great scene, too. Yeah.
So he's back in all these new ones, and I love that actor.
Well, yeah, because what was cool about him is he didn't like Ethan Hunt in the first one. He was after him. He thought he was the traitor, but when he found out that he
bankrupted his parents, he
did all these terrible things, but when he found out that he wasn't, he was like, okay, you're okay in my book,
So there's Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible. All right. Next.
Just for this whole series, really. Yeah.
Next.
This is it.
This is okay.
This is just
a couple things. That's why I'm wearing these glasses.
Yeah.
I could never look like that.
No.
He was very young there too. Kelly McGillis. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, it's funny in this movie too. It's like this is when he became Tom Cruise. Like this is when he became Tom Cruise.
This is the Tom Cruise spoofing. When everybody spoofs him.
Yeah, it's Pete Mitchell.
It's right.
It's the Pete Mitchell.
We got a need for speed.
Yeah.
Right. All that stuff.
But I mean, this is when he became. This is like. Because he did a movie before, like the year before this movie. He did Legend with Ridley Scott, which is like a fantasy movie. Yeah. And that movie was like, didn't do well at all, right? I mean, it's a great film, but my point is that this is when he becomes Tom Cruise superstar.
Again, 1986, same year as what we just Mission Impossible.
No, that was 96, 10 years later.
Oh, 86. Okay.
It was 86.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this in the theater, man. As a kid,
I mean, listen, the recruitment went up.
Dude, like 400%. It was like crazy.
Yeah,
but this is where he kind of does the cocky outsider who's his own worst enemy. Yeah, we see him basically play this again in Days of Thunder, which is like the most obvious Top Gun ripoff, like except with cars. Yeah,
yeah.
But he kind of this is where he becomes a superstar. I mean, I don't know how much money this movie made, but it was just like a
I can tell you. You want me to tell you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
But I mean,
directed by Tony Scott.
Yeah, and Tony Scott.
Talk about a legend.
Yeah, Ridley Scott's brother, actually.
Yeah, I know.
Legend didn't do as well. But
okay, $15 million budget.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's amazing.
Yeah, $15 million. First opening weekend, it made $8 million. Mm-hmm. Gross worldwide, it's $357 million. So, yeah.
A massive
hit. A little
hit.
bit of a hit.
Yeah.
By Tom Cruise.
You know what's crazy? Is this only made $8 million? It just goes to show you how movies are marketed and they build. This movie made $8 million, and even back in '86, that was a modest opening. That wasn't anything to write home about, especially for a summer movie. Yeah. But word of mouth, man. It just blew this movie up.
It did.
And I remember seeing it because I went to go see it with a friend of mine, and his dad was like in naval intelligence. And I remember we were asking him, like, was that a real story? Like, what happened at the end there? And he was like, no.
No. The fake. I mean, well, let's jump to Maverick for a second.
Yes,
Okay.
Maverick.
What's that? What's that dismissive?
Because I've said it before. I was disappointed in Maverick. I thought Maverick was a ripoff of Iron Eagle 2. It is. I'm not. Wait, let me rephrase. It's not. I didn't think it was. It was a ripoff of Iron Eagle 2.
That's funny.
Literally, it's
Yeah.
like literally they have to fly through a thing
Yeah.
and shoot it.
Well, it's Star Wars too,
And
right?
Star
The whole-
Wars, yeah. And I mean, come on. He
Okay,
could have literally said,
But I have a theory.
use the Force,
I
Rooster.
think I've told you this theory.
Oh,
about-
yes, the
Okay,
theory.
So the theory is that when he gets in that plane to break the Mach 10,
Yeah.
right, and he has to eject
Yeah.
at Mach 10,
Right.
that any human being that would eject at Mach 10 would immediately be
Oh, yeah. You
destroyed.
Yeah, you die.
You vaporize.
Yeah.
And so the rest of the movie is his dying
like dream.
Okay, because if you remember, he drops into that little weird store with
50
a kid. It
like-
looks like the 50s.
It looks like a 50s diner.
And the kid's
not
like,
like a
look at you,
retro
you're an
50.
astronaut.
Yeah,
Are you an alien?
Yeah.
And then the rest of the movie is just everything falling into place, including the hot, sexy girlfriend that at that age shouldn't be, she's like, everybody loves her. She's ringing the bell at the bar.
she
She's
is.
the great Jennifer Connelly.
It's Jennifer Connelly.
I mean, that would be my death dream too.
Oh, yeah.
He's dead. He's dead.
You think he's dead?
And this is just his death, like his last. He's saving the reputation of
Right.
Goose, right? He's winning the thing.
Yeah.
He's better than the younger guys that are, and it's kind of this. Who's that actor that did Twister? He's the new It guy,
Oh, you the guy who plays Hangman. I don't know his name.
right? But he's and Tom.
He's
Cruise
the
like,
new Iceman.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm still the guy.
Yeah.
That's a death thing. He's
yeah.
gone. He's gone.
It's interesting because you bring up the part where he ejects and everything.
Yeah,
that
at Mach 10.
and that's a ripoff of The Right Stuff. So it's like,
But that was not at Mach 10.
no, he was not going Mach 10. He does at that scene. There's a scene where what's his name, Chuck Yeager.
Yeah, I know.
Goes after like Mach 2, though.
Right.
Like he is like Mach 2
and
point
the
something.
plane's collapsing and he
Yeah.
ends up on the desert. And-
Yeah. Well, that's a different
Right.
record he's trying to break.
Right.
I,
He's trying to break the sound barrier at that point, right? Wasn't he?
well,
trying to-
the opening part is him breaking
talking
the
about-
sound barrier.
right.
And then there's another scene where he breaks the sound barrier again. He becomes the fastest man again because a different guy breaks Mach 2.
Right.
And he takes it to like Mach
Oh, right,
2.3 or something.
And that's-
And then the very last scene is he tries to break the record of a plane taking off from the ground and
Get into space.
and going an altitude record going from the ground up.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it, but then he goes through and he ejects and everything. But I will say this though, as far as like the Mach 10 thing,
theory?
the moment something goes wrong, that plane is going to decelerate pretty quickly.
Oh, not that. I mean, if it does, that'll break his neck too.
I know.
Come on.
It is
Jesus.
kinda crazy.
Stop it. That's
I
a
know.
great theory. I
It
love
is
the
a good theory, though.
Because if you actually watch it with that
Yeah.
in mind, it's
It
like,
does.
oh, look, she is
Every-
super cute at
Yeah.
55 years old. Come
Yeah.
on. It's a fever dream. It's a fever dream or death.
And hey, by the way, we also just happen to have an F-14 Tomcat lying around that you can get in
Some
and fly.
enemy thing. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Perfect.
That's a good. I like
But I
that.
mean, this is, it made Kelly McGillis a sex symbol, even
Oh,
though
gosh,
she
yeah.
she didn't want any part of that. I don't
No,
think.
she
right?
did not.
She didn't. Obviously, it just
Yeah.
solidified his thing.
Yeah, this is what turned him into Tom
Right. And they're
Cruise.
doing a Maverick 3 now, I think.
Oh,
I think they're
God,
going to do a
really?
Maverick. Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't that? Come on. Why wouldn't he?
I know well, Maverick was his. Believe it or not, that's the only movie he's ever made that's like cracked $1 billion. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like he that was his most successful movie dollar wise. Not necessarily adjusted for inflation, but I think this might still be. I mean, at $357 million in 1986 dollars, that's a lot of money.
Right. And it's still going.
Yeah.
So there you go. Top Gun.
Top Gun, Pete
and
Mitchell,
Top
man.
Gun Maverick. Is it Top Gun Maverick or just Maverick? I think it's Top Gun Maverick.
I'm not sure.
All right. Next.
Here we go.
I asked for this one.
No,
I wanted to throw this on.
No.
2 reasons. One is Tom Cruise's performance in this is just freaking outrageous, and Paul Newman. So this is a sequel to
The Hustler.
The Hustler, directed by Martin Scorsese.
I know.
Starring Paul Newman, Tom Cruise and Elizabeth Antonio. I can't even say her name properly.
Yeah.
And it is a great film. And
Terrific.
the Tom Cruise scene that he does with Werewolves of London, where he's hustling those guys in the pool hall, is insane.
I know.
And his pump and his hair,
It's all
the
puffed
whole
up.
thing, the whole thing was just. This is.
And he has Vince written across his shirt. I
He's-
love that part where like Newman, Fast Eddie Felson is like, leave the shirt on.
Yeah.
Because he's talking to him. He's like, it's so ridiculous. It's perfect.
Right.
Because wasn't he working at like a kid's store? Like
I wanted to rewatch this. I didn't have time because this is the one I wanted to rewatch.
This is a great film.
Yeah, it really
and
is.
it's once again, what's great about this movie, I do really think it's cool, is that he says, okay, I don't know how much he got paid for this, but he could have gone on and done something else. He could have gone on and done some big action movie or something and made a ton of money. Instead, he's like, I want to go work with Paul Newman. I want to work with Martin Scorsese. And that's pretty cool too. But I do,
Again, 1986.
He was crushing it. This is 86. Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was at the same time.
1986. Yeah.
So maybe he wasn't, probably when he was making it, he wasn't Tom Cruise yet. I mean, he wasn't
not at
Top
that
Gun
point.
Tom Cruise at least.
But also,
But this is a great, it's another good performance. I think it shows like, especially like at the end when he misses,
he fakes the.
he misses on
we
purpose.
don't know that. We don't know that.
Well, he bet against himself.
Right.
So he made a ton of money. So, and the whole movie long, Fast Eddie's basically telling me it's about the money.
Right.
It's not about you going out there. He's like, and kicking ass with this amazing, I forget the name of the cue, the balabushka or some shit like that. There was this, beautiful cue. And he's like, with this thing, I could basically beat anybody. And like how like he would go in there and he'd just crush people and he couldn't hustle them. And so that's why I think he definitely missed it on purpose.
He said he missed. He told.
Yeah. And well,
Paul
I
Newman.
think.
Did he beat Paul? I forget. Did he beat Paul Newman in that one? Or did he beat
No, he loses to Paul Newman because
Right.
what it is I think it's been a while since I've seen it too. Is that Newman basically tells him, hey, there's the tournament part, but the real money is in the side rooms,
Right.
in the side games, because that's where people are betting real money. It's not just the prize money, it's the money. And so he bets against himself, right? He has somebody bet for, obviously,
right.
a cutout, bets for him or whatever. And he bets against himself. So Fast Eddie thinks he beats him, right? And that's why, like, in the end, Newman's like, I'm coming for you. I may not beat you today or 3 months from now.
Well, that's the last shot is him going, I'm back.
And he
slams
cracks
the
it,
thing.
yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. And if you like pool, if you like watching pool or playing pool, this movie really plays that out. And Paul Newman is in a bar. Remember the scene where he's talking to Helen Shaver and he hears the balls just being like decimated when somebody's hit him, and that's how he meets this Vince. And it's such a good.
Yeah, that's right. Because it's like he can't help himself. It's
he's a beer distributor or something.
Yeah, because he's quit.
Right,
supposedly, he's like, I'm
after
done.
the hustle. He couldn't do it anymore.
And then but now he's like, okay, I'm back. Because at one point he's like mentoring John Turturro.
Yeah,
right. And like Vince just keeps beating him, and he's like, no, I'm hustling him, man. I'm hustling him. He's like, who's hustling who?
Yeah.
And then at one point, like I love that scene because Vince is like, let's just play for fun, and like. Turturro's like, why? No, this isn't fun. It's work.
It's my job.
Why would I play for fun? It's kind of funny too.
He did that in Rounders.
I was about to say, I was going to play up Rounders because he basically kind of plays that guy older in Rounders.
Right.
He does that whole bit. He's like, my kids eat.
Right.
He's like, I don't have dreams of winning the World Series of Poker on ESPN fucking N.
Right.
It's such a great. Yeah. He's so great. In that movie.
Yeah.
He just has like just like that velour, like a
you talk about in Rounders.
Oh yeah, in Rounders.
Yeah.
He's like one of these scummy dudes.
Yeah. But what I liked about this is it was just a different. It's a Tom Cruise energy. I get it, but the way he's whipping that pool cue around, and the way he learned pool. I mean, it's the thing about him.
Yeah.
Where does he find the time?
Dude, he doesn't have
He's flying helicopters and jets. He's learning how to fly jets and shit. I mean, how does he have the time to do all? It's amazing. I get that. That's your job.
He doesn't have a job.
I get
man.
it. It's your job. I get it. But still.
He's got nannies to take care of his children.
That's true.
He's probably got an army of nannies.
But I double love this because of Paul Newman.
It's terrific. It's a great movie.
Yeah, good one. Good cruise film.
Definitely worth watching. And I think it probably, of the 5 that we've shown.
4? I think
I'm
there's
sorry,
a
the
fifth
fourth-
one. Is there a fifth one? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's 5, right? We did. This always happens
it
to us. We
happens.
lose. Well, hit the button, man. See what's.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be more. That's crazy.
No, we did Top Gun.
Newman, yeah, Top Gun, Mission Impossible,
Rain
Rain
Man.
Man. Wow.
Risky Business.
That went so quick. He's
did.
got so many films.
Dude,
It's
it's
unbelievable.
well, that's the funny thing. I started looking over his IMDb again, and I was like, I completely forgot about that
Yeah.
film. Like,
Yeah.
and some of these you just forget that he's in it, and like,
Edge of Tomorrow, right? He really was playing. That was him playing Tom Cruise perfectly.
so good.
Arrogant,
Yeah.
you know, just
And Emily Blunt is fantastic in that
they're,
film.
they're
and-
both good. They're both good.
Yeah, so that's one of those movies that's like
Minority Report. I mean,
Minority Report. That was the one that I completely forgot about. He's great in that, you know? I mean, it's kind of funny because he's kind of like, I don't really buy him as, even after losing his son, as like a drug drug addict cop, you know, basically. But yeah, Minority Report's great. Man.
Yeah.
That's a good flick.
yeah. So
Anyway,
Tom
but
Cruise,
no,
Cruise
yeah.
Control.
I know, man. Cruise Control.
Control.
That's a great one, man. I like that. Cruise
Thank
Control.
you. You know, it's, sometimes I come up with a couple.
Well, you know what? It's, Ralph, it's so good to like sit and talk about these things because more than anything, it makes me like, oh shit, I didn't get a chance to catch up with that one. So I got to track down The Color of Money now,
I really want to. I think I have The Color of Money on Laserdisc. I probably have it on, but yeah, I want to. That's the one I wanted to watch again.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For me, it was Risky Business. Like
Okay.
Risky Business, like I said before, was one of those movies where the first time I watched it, I was probably 15, 16. It did not hit with me. I just didn't quite get it. Even though it's about a 17-year-old guy who's like,
Yeah, but at that age,
I
mean, you have no.
It wasn't hitting. And then, but when I came back to it like later, probably I'm going to even say in my early 30s, I was like, I realized how beautiful visually it was and how it shoots Chicago.
Yeah.
And if you love Chicago or have ever lived in Chicago and you watch this, you're like, it's just
Right.
It's like Michael Mann level good shooting of Chicago.
Yeah.
Just the way that he shoots it, the neon,
And this
it
is
looks so
early
good.
Joey Pants. This is early.
This is
him.
like super
early.
Yeah.
And also, don't you relate more with the guy from Stanford that come to interview him?
Oh God, yeah.
Guy broken,
Yeah.
and like he's just doing his thing,
He's
and
like,
Tom Cruise is like, sometimes you just gotta say, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then there's that whole scene where he's like, I guess it's Illinois State or something like University of Illinois.
That's how he ends it. That's,
You know,
right. That's
'cause
how
he-
it ends, right?
yeah.
It freeze frames on that.
Yeah, 'cause
I
he's-
guess it's still
Because he thinks that he's done.
yeah.
And actually, I don't even think it's a freeze frame. I think he just holds it for a second.
really?
Well, they talked about it in the commentary, and he's like, they were going through it, and he's like, well, I'm just gonna do something stupid because I guess he was getting frustrated or whatever. And he's like, so he gave him that crazy look, and that's what they ended up going with.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
but it's funny. But the funny thing was that guy Paul Brickman, right? So he makes this movie. It's a huge hit. Everybody loves it. Makes a ton of money. He was so upset about them changing his ending. He's written a couple of other movies, but he's only ever directed like one other movie called like Men Don't Leave from like 1992 with
right,
Jessica Lange.
Jessica Lange, yeah.
And I was like,
There's
dude.
a lot of stories of people who
Yeah.
just get brutalized by Hollywood and just don't even want. I mean,
And
it's
I
like
mean-
everybody's dream. You think it's going to be a dream job, and then
Yeah.
you get.
But I mean, the funny thing is, and don't get me wrong, I think his ending is way better. And for one, it has this beautiful shot out over Lake Michigan that's absolutely gorgeous, and it's just darker. It's more bittersweet, especially since they're talking, and she's like, Joel, we're both gonna go places, and you're like, Joel might go places, sweetie, but you're like a 21-year-old prostitute.
I got the sense that she was like she was older than him. She wasn't.
Well, she was older than him, but I don't think it was a case where she was like 30.
Okay.
I think it was supposed to be like she was literally like, if he's 17, she was like 20, 21 at most.
Okay.
She had just been,
Yeah.
she'd just been out in the world a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's Cruise
Yes.
Control.
This is a good one, man.
It was fun. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
fun.
it's fun to like just, dive in on a single, in this case, actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
and
this
I
is
like
good.
the idea of doing a director, maybe. We'll come up with one of those.
Figure it out.
There's
Make
a lot of good,
decision.
we got to make sure they've got at least 10 or 12 good movies that we can pick from.
Good movies. Yeah. Or go the other way and just like, who knows? Roger
yeah.
Corman had a lot of interesting things that he
Dude,
helped
Roger Corman's
produce.
great. Dude.
I know.
More than anything, like you look at all the people who worked for
I'm
Roger
telling you,
Corman.
it's
insane.
It's insane.
It's
So,
insane how many people literally learned how to make movies from that
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. So I mean, this is infinity. You could
Yeah.
go on forever. And this is why we come to the lounge. We like to hang out, drink
a
some
few
beers,
beers.
have some beers.
Hell
Yeah. And there it is. Cruise control.
I love it.
See what happens next time
Sounds good, man.
on the 5.
Love it.
Not the Fox 5.
Not
the
the-
5.
Not those.
Not
Anyway.
the 5. Okay. All right. See you later.